How's it going, guys? Welcome to another live stream. We are live here coming to you from San Diego, California. Your driver Mike here. Welcome to our How to Dominate 2019 live stream. We're giving you 5 tips in this live stream. Let me know where you're watching from in the live chat. I'm excited to talk to you about these strategies. We're now into 2019. We're fresh into January. So I want to give you 5 tips, 5 power tips if you're in the gig economy, right? If you're getting into these side hustle apps, or if you're just thinking about it, right? If you're already working these platforms, or if you're new to it and you're thinking about jumping in this live stream, I'm going to give you 5 power tips on how to really maximize your success in this gig economy in 2019. Dark Road Ron, I appreciate you being here. I see it in the live chat. So if we're just meeting, this channel is dedicated to success in the gig economy. Really, moreover, to your success in the gig economy, whether that be, well, hey, what is this gig economy, right? That could be delivery. That could be platforms like Amazon Flex, DoorDash, Postmates. You could be doing rideshare, right? Uber, Lyft, and rideshare platforms, or more. Hey, Scuba Music, I see it in here. Shift, Uber, Lyft, what's going on? I appreciate you being here for another live stream. Thanks, guys, for being here. So for just meeting, I appreciate you being here. So what's the goal? What's the strategy of this live stream today? Well, really, the goal is to build your strategy. At the end of this live stream, I want you to have a strategy framework built for this year. You need to do it now. If you haven't done it already, this live stream is going to help you build that strategy for this year. So firstly, I want you to ask yourself some questions. Before we get into this, you need to ask yourself some questions, and we're doing it now because if we don't do this now, if we don't call you out on these questions, you may be, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months into the year, and you really don't understand these questions. You need to understand these questions first. Hey guys, I see you in here. Captain, thanks for being here. Kurubel, thanks for being here. Currently on an Uber shift, out there hustling. So ask these questions right now. How many apps are you using right now? Early January 2019, or if you're thinking about getting into the gig economy, how many apps are you thinking about signing up with? Put that in the comments down below if you're watching this live. Put that in the live chat right now. Let me know. How many apps are you currently using right now? And be able to answer this question too. Okay, which apps are making you the most money? We can go even a deeper dive into that. At which times of the day? Do you know at what specific times of the day and each day during the week, which apps are making you the most money? And here's a big question. Hey, you may not even thought about this. You may have not even thought about this for all of last year. We're thinking about it right now. What is one new app you're going to try in 2019? Let me know as well in the comments because you want to put this out in the open. You want to tell people, friends, this community here, you got to get it out so those friends, right, people can hold you accountable. If you say, hey, you know what? This year's the year I'm going to try DoorDash. Or I've been doing Uber for 3 years. I haven't done Lyft. I'm comfortable with Uber. Tell somebody, say, you know what, I'm going to sign up for Lyft and hold yourself accountable. Say, I'm going to sign up for Lyft by February 1st, right? I'm going to start the sign up process by February 1st. Guess what? Your friends, your family that you told, February comes around, they're going to say, hey, didn't you sign up for that Lyft? They're going to hold you accountable. What's one app you're going to sign up for in 2019? Additionally, something that I think a lot of us forget is how are you bettering your experience with your current apps? What does that mean? Well, I heard a nice little kind of analogy is someone's working in an industry for 20 years and the person with 5 years of experience gets the promotion. Why? They say, I've been working in this industry for 20 years. I have 20 years of experience. No, you've done the same thing every year for 20 years. You have not bettered your experience. You have not learned. You haven't grown. The person that has been in the industry for 5 years, maybe they took stretch assignments, right? Maybe they asked for extra responsibilities. They challenged themselves. They learned new things, and they showed that they learned those new skills and traits, right? So no, you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, right? That's the definition of insanity. Tip number 1, understand your why. Sleeping Elephant, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Tip number 1, you need to understand your why. What do we mean by that? Understanding your why. What is even your main purpose of working in the gig economy? Answer that question right now. You can do it in the live chat, in the comment section, or just to yourself. What really is your main purpose working in the gig economy? You need to have direction. I mean, if you don't have direction, you're not doing I guarantee you, you're not performing as well as you can. You're not decreasing your expenses as much as you can. And you're not finding the best fit for you, for your schedule, for your market. You're not finding the best fit that you can. What is your main purpose working in the gig economy? For me, it's extra income. And it is content and training for you. I want to try new apps this year. And we polled you guys already asking if you'd like to figure out how to earn $1,200 to $1,500 plus per month with Airbnb. And for that, we're going to have a guest if you guys continue to show interest. But it's learning, it's learning different apps. And you can see content, training for you guys. And really, hey, I mean, when I started in 2015, it's extra income, right? That is what this side hustle is. Now, there's also reasons like, I want to network. I want to meet new people. I want to get out of the house. I want to try something new. I want to challenge myself. But a lot of us, it's extra income. So here's an exercise for you. Captain says paying the bills. There we go. Absolutely. I would kind of agree to that here. Paying the bills, right? Extra income. Having extra income to pay the bills so you can have additional income to spend on what you like. Here's an exercise. A lot of companies, a lot of corporate companies, they practice efficiency training. And one of these systems is called Six Sigma. And within Six Sigma, they have what's called the 5 whys. Well, hey guys, if you've been around kids, if you have kids, they ask why a lot. Why? Why can't I do this? Well, why? Why? We're taking that same practice here into Six Sigma. The 5 whys typically refer to the practice of asking 5 times why the failure has occurred in order to get to the root cause or causes of the problem. We're going to do exactly what the child has done that we've seen, and ask yourself, here's an exercise for you, ask this for a failure in your portfolio. In your gig economy apps, we're calling up, your portfolio. Where have you seen, or at least deemed, a failure in what you're doing right now? For instance, well, hey, I mean, how many times do you hear, I don't make enough money with Uber, right? Uber's not as good as it once was. I don't get any DoorDash scheduled slots. Or Amazon Flex, too. You have to schedule slots with Amazon Flex. I don't get any slots. Or I only get 10% tip ratio, meaning only 10% of my riders or deliveries tip. An exercise for you is to identify one of these failures. Think about what you're doing. Think about a failure. The reason we're doing this is because you may think about these things in the back of your mind. We're calling this out now. You may say, well, hey, I don't make enough money with Uber. But you never bring that to the forefront. You always just think about that. You kind of vent to yourself. You maybe vent to your friends. But you never address the problem outright, right? You never actually address the problem. You just complain about the problem. And here's a power tip. One of the best ways to excel in a company is to not only be the person that identifies the problem, but when you come to your leadership team or your management voicing that problem, already have solutions ready, right? And I think a lot of people, they don't do that. They say, hey, you know what? This in our system is really slow. This isn't working. Come with solutions. Be the person with at least suggestions. Hey, they don't even have to take the solution, but you're offering suggestions that may branch out more solutions. That's going to make you stand out. I want you to do the 5 whys within Six Sigma for failure in your portfolio. Tip number 2, you need to explore new apps. You need to explore new apps this year. And hey, I mean, it seems so rudimentary, right? Well, of course I need to try new apps, but a lot of us, including myself, you may get stuck in what you're doing. You may be comfortable with making that $250 a week, the $300 a week, full-time drivers. Hey, you may earn what? $1,000, what have you, right? You're comfortable with your earnings per week. But you'll find later on, we're going to talk about in a second, there's reasons you need to try new apps. So my tip for you here, tip number 2, is you need to actively try new apps. Don't just say, I'm going to explore this app this year, right? Things change. Let's just jump right into it. Why would you try new apps? Like we just mentioned, things change. You guys know this. Apps change. Well, hey, if you're new to the gig economy, you may not know this. If you know someone that's interested in signing up, they don't know this. And even if you're a veteran in the gig economy, you may forget about this. Or you may just take it for granted. Say, Uber's my biggest earner, right? Or DoorDash is my biggest earner. And it will be until it's not, until it changes. Rate changes. The terms may change. Guys, rideshare drivers, you know 2015 and older, 2014, 2013. The flat commission that was taken from your earnings until it changed. And a lot of drivers have been citing what, 40%, 50% being taken, especially on smaller rides, because terms may have changed in your market. Bonuses may change. Bonus restrictions, right? You may have seen restrictions on where you can put an affiliate code, a referral code, how much you're going to make from affiliate bonuses. Another reason to try new apps is you need to discover the best fit for you and your market. What do I mean by that? Well, just because a driver in a certain market says, Uber's fantastic, it still surges. Or DoorDash is very consistent. It's very busy. Uber Eats is very busy, very consistent. It may not be for the best for you and your market. What I mean by that, scheduling differences. What's the workload involved? Is there physical labor involved? We talk about charging Lime scooters. The clientele, rideshare passengers, delivery customers. No clientele at all, right? If you're charging Lime scooters, there's no real person's clientele at all. So what fits for one person at a certain time with a certain clientele, with a certain physical labor demand may not be the best for you. That's why you need to try different apps. There's so many nuances within each app, earnings, workload. You need to find the best for you. Sleeping Elephant says, make them compete for your time and work. Guys, that's very true. You're an independent contractor. You can choose who you work for, when you work, and you can pick and choose which app works best for you. I'm going to jump back over here for just a second. So continuing on, tip number 3, you need to know what to look for in these new apps, okay? Not only are you going to try new apps, here's what to look for when you're trying new apps. And this is big because without criteria, you can try new apps, But if you don't know what to look for, especially if you're new, guys, if you're new to the gig economy, the side hustle apps, right? Rideshare, delivery, what have you. If you don't know what to look for, you're not going to be looking for anything. You're going to be walking blind into these apps. Here's what to look for. With all this stuff going on, right? Here's a bunch of different apps. It's a lot to it's a lot to process, right? What's going on here? I see numbers, I see earnings, I see rates, multipliers, search percents. What is this? Earnings guarantees. What do I actually look for to make the best use of your time? Number one, there it is. Earnings guarantees. These apps will guarantee you an amount that you can earn, and you want to compare that over each app. Check it out. Here is an example of earnings guarantees. If you look on the far left, that is DoorDash delivery earnings guarantees. You can see here, they're offering $3 extra per delivery. If you look on the middle screen, that is a Postmates earnings guarantee. A little bit different this time. We saw with DoorDash, they're giving you $3 extra per each delivery within a certain time window. Every delivery you get, extra $3. If we look in the middle screenshot for Postmates, it's a little different. They're guaranteeing you $50 for the next 6 deliveries. In that example, you're locked into Postmates. You have to do those 6 deliveries in the time allocated, and that's their earnings guarantee. If we look on the screenshot on the right, that is Amazon Flex. Yet again, even more different. This one offering you a flat hourly rate, somewhat similar to Postmates, $54 for a 2-hour window. Guys, that's $27 per hour. So you can see here, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the full 2 or 3 hour slot for Amazon Flex. I don't know if I want to drive just Postmates, so I don't know if I can do Postmates. Maybe you'd want to do DoorDash, because you can do $3 per delivery and then work other apps at the same time. But again, you need to try different apps. You need to know what to look for. Secondly, sign-on bonuses. We talked about how things change. Sign-on bonuses change. Here's another example. For anyone new in the gig economy, this is especially important. We have links down below for most every single app, I would say every app that we feature here on the channel. If you're new, if you're going to be trying those new apps this year, well, what's going to pay you the most money just for signing up? These companies will pay you a bonus, a sign-on bonus, right? Just for signing up for their platform. You can see on the left side, $250 with Lyft. DoorDash in the middle, $100. Uber on the right, a guaranteed $375. There are restrictions. There may be criteria to meet this amount. It may be an outright bonus, or it may be an incentive that adds on to the earnings you've already done when you're starting out. In addition, you need to look for competition levels. How saturated do you think Uber is in your market? Lyft, DoorDash, Amazon Flex. Amazon Flex especially may be a little more underground if not everyone knows about it the way that they know about Uber and Lyft. Time, the expense investment. Okay, for the amount of money you're going to make per hour, how much time do you really need to invest, right? How much do you need to invest expense-wise? Is there any overhead cost? Like for Lime, for example, when you're charging Lime scooters, you need to pay upfront for the Lime chargers. there may or may not be a coupon for those chargers. That's expenses out of pocket that you need to cover. For Uber Eats, for a lot of, well, I'd say all delivery platforms, there's some time investment because those companies will not pay you from your starting point to the restaurant. They will pay you from the restaurant to the customer based on time, based on miles, based on different criteria within each app. That's something you need to consider as well. Okay, hey, if we go back to the Amazon, I'm going to click back here. And if you look at this Amazon screenshot on the right, again, we told you it was what, $27 per hour for that top section. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., you can see here a 2-hour slot, they're offering $54. However, that starting point, you may have to go to a certain warehouse. Well, you will have to go to a certain warehouse for Amazon Flex to do a package pickup. That may be way too far for you. That may be 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away. That's dead miles, dead time that you're going to have to drive to the warehouse and then eventually drive back home. Consider that as well. Miles in the car, a little bit of gas expense. Now, it may be a good option for you if that's what you want to do, if you're headed up that way anyway. That's why you need to customize this to you. But consider the time investment. How about past user reviews and testimonials? Finding people who have done this work in the space, whether that be channels like this one right here, other channels on YouTube, message boards, right? Discussion boards, Facebook groups, talking to people just in your market, coworkers, family, friends, people who have done these apps, who have already worked on these apps. What are they saying about these apps? Locally here in San Diego, I've highly recommended Amazon Flex because I felt that at the time it was pretty underground. There was a lot of potential there. Now, months later, Amazon Flex is no longer hiring drivers, at least now, that I'm sure will change eventually, in the San Diego market. So you can see if someone came up to me and asked me about Amazon Flex, how my strategy for them would change. I've talked to taxi drivers when I was back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I had a taxi driver talk to me at a gas station about Uber, if it was worth it, right? Time commitment. He was doing the same exact thing we recommend here, is asking others for their reviews, their thoughts on it. Barriers to entry. What are the barriers of entry to these apps? Do they require an age restriction, a vehicle criteria? If you're charging scooters, Bird scooters, Lime scooters, well, you need to get the chargers first. You need to have a place to charge them. You need to have a vehicle that can at least load the scooters, right? There's got to be something. Now, hey, in some neighborhoods, sure, you can do it on foot. It's going to be tricky. All of these are barriers of entry. Robin, I appreciate you being here. Robin says, hi, Mike. Laura says, great suggestions. I appreciate that, Laura. Laura says, we got to roll with the changes. I'm on 3 apps. Very good. Depends on the time of day. Absolutely. Scheduling. Like we mentioned earlier, certain apps may work better. Frankly, they will work better at different times of the day. You can't necessarily harvest, right, collect Lime or Bird scooters earlier in the morning in the day. You can, there will be some available, but the way that Lime's system is set up, those scooters become available at 9 p.m. So what are you going to do before 9 p.m.? Now, sure, you can, look around and pick up maybe a few here and there, but it's probably not going to be as optimal as if you were driving rideshare or were doing delivery, especially delivery during those busy times. Lastly, longevity. This is the gig economy, really an economy that was just invented basically, app-based, we'll say, apps on your phone. There's always been independent contractor work, but we're talking about app-based gig economy. Really, it's only 5 plus or so, 5 to 7 years old with the advent of Uber. It was really the company that spearheaded this. industry. So this is a very fresh industry. What's the longevity? Like we mentioned, things change. You need a plan for something long term, especially if you're doing this full time. If you are doing this full time, you need to constantly be doing these things year over year. And if you're relying on some of this income, even part time, it's the same thing. Tip number 4, I want you to focus on these 2 things to earn more money. My apologies, guys. We did not right here unmute the mic. My apologies. I had a feeling that we forgot that. We're back. We're back. That's okay. That's okay. We'll go back. Oh, I had a feeling. Okay. No worries. So, let's go back. The 2 things I want you to focus on. Number 1 was tipping. And I was saying that you can't just assume, oh yeah, hey, Mike, I'm obviously focusing on tipping. What I think a lot of us do is just assume tips. You kind of assume that tipping is in place. Well, I assume my ratio for tipping is, I don't know, 30% of my passengers, 40% of my passengers tip, or delivery customers, what have you. You need to actively focus on the micro moments that win you tips. Don't just assume that that is your tip ratio, because then you're always going to have that tip ratio instead of trying to boost that tip ratio. So, as reported by TechCrunch, since launching in-app tipping, Uber has paid out $600 million to drivers in tips. Lyft has paid out over $500 million. Why is that important? Well, since day one, Lyft has had tipping. Since day one, they've always had in-app tipping. Uber has just added in-app tipping, what? I don't know, in the past year and a half or so? So in just, I don't know, again, a year and a half, maybe 2 years, Uber has paid out 600 million, 100 million more than Lyft, and Lyft has had this since day one. So you can see the frequency of tipping is there. The scalability of tipping is there, especially with Uber being so massive. So there's a lot of money for you to make out there in tips. Here's a tip, pun intended. Here's a tip from me about earning more. You need to focus on these small interactions that win the biggest tips. We have a video on this called Mastering the Micro Interaction, really winning those micro interactions. And you can see here in the screenshot, this is from DoorDash. $90 from delivery earnings, a strong $78 from tips. So when you're out there, if you're driving, if you're doing delivery, and we will have a deep dive on customer service to win you tips here in the coming months. But what I want you to do is do not go through the standard motions, especially when doing delivery. Another tip that I have for you is purposely keep your delivery customers at the door for just a few more seconds. This is a power tip that I like doing with delivery. And after over 100 initial deliveries with the DoorDash, this has yielded me a lot of success, is purposely keep your customers at the door for a few more seconds. How do I do that? What does that mean? Don't rush through these interactions. What I do is maybe I'll be at the front door and I won't already have the food pulled out of the bag, ready to hand over. Hey, there you go. Bye, we're done. That's rushed. That's too predictable. That's not going to win you a tip. That'll get them their food fast. But what I do is maybe I'll hold my bag, the DoorDash bag, in front of me, obviously showing them that I have the hot and cold bag, but I'll keep it zipped, or it'll be unzipped, but I won't take the food out. You have agreed to, hey, how's it going? They say, oh, good. Hey, you got your delivery here. And I will say something genuine at that point in the interaction. Say, hey, I've ordered from the sushi place before. You have great taste. You just picked from my favorite sushi spot, right? Or say, hey, have you ordered from that sushi place before? They say, oh yeah, a couple times. Fantastic choice. This is my favorite place. I order from this place all the time. Makes them feel good, right? Oh yeah, other people like this place. I like it too. Built that quick connection with you guys. Like, hey, he likes it too. That's pretty cool. Thanks, man. Doesn't have to be huge. It does not have to be huge to win a tip. You want to just make them feel good, just even a little bit. We tip when we feel good. I've even said some of the homes here in California are absolutely beautiful that I deliver to. I'll simply say, hey, you have a really nice home. I'll say, hey, how's it going? Got your DoorDash delivery here. By the way, you have a really nice home. That's it. It's genuine. That's what's going to win you a tip. It has to be genuine. Do not say something that is not genuine, that you don't really feel, right? It may work for you, but a lot of times people can smell that out. Little micro interactions like that, that's what's going to win you those tips. Hey, also consider this. Consider amenities that wow, right? So we talked about winning the tip with service. What if you combine that with actual amenities, things that wow? Have you considered any of these? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching in the rebroadcast. If you're doing delivery, do you consider a catering bag? Because you will have larger orders. Do you have a larger catering bag? Or do you have just the single hot and cold bag that Postmates gives you, that DoorDash gives you, that Grubhub gives you? So what happens when you do inevitably do get that large order? You're carrying your customer's order in the single bag and carrying the rest in your hand. May not look too graceful, may not look that impressive. They may think, well, hey, this guy's unprepared. You still may get a tip. You still may get the ratings, but you could guarantee yourself perhaps a higher tip, or perhaps prevent lower ratings by being more prepared. I've had delivery customers say, wow, that bag, by the way, that you're seeing on the bottom left, that's the actual delivery bag that I use for those larger orders. They've said, hey, that's a really nice delivery bag. That's a really nice bag. If you're a rideshare driver, something that I really believe in, guys, if you're new, if you're thinking about driving for Uber or Lyft, or if you're an Uber or Lyft driver, if you've just joined, if you've tuned out for this entire thing and listen to this, if you have not heard about Cargo and you want to make more money, flat out, I encourage you to sign up for Cargo. The unit in the middle, that is a Cargo in-car experience for your passengers. Kind of like an in-car vending machine, right? But the way that Cargo presents these products is in a modern, sleek, streamlined unit that is LED lit, has USB ports for your passengers. And get this, it is officially and the only system that is Uber approved. Moreover, how does this make you money? Cargo makes you money by giving you commissions, giving you money on every sale of these items that you make. You get a commission on retail sales. You get $1 flat on every general sale. Some of these products are free. They're samples. They're free to your passengers. They don't cost them anything. And some of these products are at cost, and these are absolute convenience items. I'll link a video playlist to Cargo right now in the card, but there's a link down below in the description to sign up for Cargo. I've easily had hundreds of drivers already sign up. Drivers seen success with Cargo. I have used Cargo in 2 markets as a driver. Number one question I hear is, I don't want people eating in my car. I do not want people eating in my car. I don't want people making a mess. Well, fantastic. Neither do I. And neither does Cargo. You will not hand off these products to your passenger until the ride has concluded, really when you're safely parked, right? And you can tell them that. On the right side, I encourage you, if you haven't done so already, is to pick up another hot and cold bag if you're a delivery driver. Again, Postmates, Grubhub, DoorDash, they give you one, which is another incentive perhaps to sign up for other platforms, because you'll get another one with another platform. But you can go onto the Postmates courier store and buy one for $5. You can go in the DoorDash store, you can buy one there. I mean, hey, you can go to Walmart and whatnot and get some of these too. Just be prepared when you're on the road. Guys, tip number 5, you need to build the action plan now. This was the goal of the stream. If you remember, now's the time to do it. Tip number 5 is to build an action plan right now. Laura says, I have 2 regular bags, 2 larger bags, and 1 super large bag for delivery. That's how you be prepared. Laura, fantastic job. That's how you're prepared. By the way, those are business expenses you can write off. So here are some example action items for Q1, that's the first 3 months of 2019. At the end of this live stream, I want you guys to build your own action plan. Here are some examples, and put a time on it. Put a time on when this is going to happen. You can see here, Q1, the first 3 months. This is what I'm going to do for the first 3 months of 2019. You can make one, you can do it for the whole year. Q1, 2, 3, and 4. You can have yearly goals, monthly goals, whatever you'd like. But have a direction, have a plan. Here are some examples for you. Try those new apps, right? If you're new to this space, or if you're just doing the same thing that you've been doing, sign up for 1 to 3 new apps. We have affiliate links down below in the description, but try those new apps. Guys, the worst thing that's going to happen is you don't like it. You sign up for these apps, the worst thing that's going to happen is it doesn't fit for you. That is it. But a lot of the times you may find that you may like a certain app better, it may work for you better, you like the clientele better, you like the whole platform better. Or at least it's a complement to what you're already doing, right? Options. Secondly, increase those tips. Increase your tips by 15% in Q1. And you'll do that by winning those micro moments with your rideshare passengers, with your delivery customers. Building the connection, being genuine, and making them feel good. That's what we mentioned. Just make them feel good in some way. You make someone feel good, they're more likely to tip, versus having a neutral conversation and it being okay. Here's something that I think goes overlooked. Increase your efficiency. Work smarter, not harder. Increase your efficiency, your earnings per hour. How can you do that? Find apps that pay you or surge like Amazon Flex, blitz pricing with Postmates, earnings incentives like we talked about earlier with DoorDash. Try Uber and Lyft. See if you have the multiplier surge. See if you have the upfront surge or prime time. Do not discount those out. Guys, do not discount Uber and Lyft, upfront surge or prime time, any of these platforms until you try it. Just try it. Hey, again, the worst case scenario is it doesn't work. But you may find that something that you had given up on because you didn't try it actually isn't that bad. Actually, it works better than what you've been doing. Another way to increase your efficiency, your earnings per hour, is of course to decrease your expenses on the other end of that profit and loss equation. This is something that I like focusing on, is decreasing your expenses. How can you drive less miles and make more money? That's the big question. Number one new driver problem that I see with a lot of Uber and Lyft drivers is you're jacking up your expenses. You're increasing your expenses so much by driving around with no ride request. Even on delivery. I do this on delivery, guys. I make a delivery. I will drive maybe a block and a half away, and I'll park and I'll wait for another ride request. There is never a time where I'm driving around with nothing to do, essentially. There are caveats, right? There's exceptions to that. If you're in a neighborhood, hey, obviously, if you don't want to just chill in a neighborhood, there's residential houses around. If you don't want to do that, then sometimes I'll drive to a shopping plaza, gas station, right? Or a restaurant area because I know it's busy. Same thing with rideshare. If you finish a ride, I mean, yes, I don't recommend just standing and parking at the same place you just dropped off. Don't do that. Not a good look. But just drive. Don't drive too far. You don't need to keep driving and driving and driving and driving, looking for a delivery request or a rideshare request. Minimize your expenses. Don't drive unnecessary miles. Have stretch goals this year. Have stretch goals. Do not be locked into the gig economy just as you see it. Don't just think, okay, I go online. Yeah, I do Uber, I do Lyft, I do delivery. That's great. You have some stretch goals. What else? If I asked you, what else? What else are you doing to grow your career, your skills? If you say, I don't know, or nothing, you're going to be that person that's 20 years of doing the same thing 20 times. learn new skills, listen to audiobooks. We have links to sign up for Audible down in the description, which is fantastic. That's how you maximize your time. You can't read a book while you're driving, but you can listen to one, or even launch a business endeavor of your own. Make 2019 the year and start doing these things. When I talk to people and they voice these goals, that's great. You're doing the step one of getting it out in the open. You're sharing it, to people, like we mentioned, sharing it in a public space to somebody. Write down the goals when this is going to happen. Learn new skills. Don't be the person that does the same thing for 20 years. Every year is the same, and you say you have 20 years of experience. Guys, I really appreciate you being here on this live stream. It's been a good live stream. I'm glad I got to share this with you. It's been a great time talking about this strategy in 2019. We're going to be trying new apps here on the channel, and I look forward to bringing these new apps to you in 2019. We got a lot of videos, a lot of new things coming up here on the channel. So I want you to share this stream right now for someone that would get value in what we talked about today. Share this across your social media. If someone's thinking about joining the gig economy, or someone that's in the gig economy and they need that direction for 2019, share this stream right now with them. And guys, jumping back here with you, there's a lot to focus on this year, but it doesn't have to feel like it's overwhelming, right? With a strategy, with goals in place, with a direction, writing things down instead of having all the ideas kind of float around, writing them down, that's going to help give you structure. I appreciate you being here on the live stream, guys. I'm going to be answering your questions down below in the comment section. I do appreciate you being here, guys. And of course, I will see you guys in the next one.